Hello, and welcome to Penn State Sports Night for the week of September 29th. I'm Madeline Shutt. Here with me tonight is Sam Mancuso, Maxwell Massey, and Chris Gamble. We're going to start off our show by talking about the tragic loss that Penn State football had for the first time this week. They lost 29-6 against Northwestern in their 2014 homecoming game. Tatum Coffey has more from Beaver Stadium.
I'm Tatum Coffey reporting from Beaver Stadium, where the Penn State Nittany Lions will take on the Northwestern Wildcats. Northwestern is coming into this game 1-2, while Penn State is 4-0 and is looking to keep their winning streak alive. It was a gorgeous fall day where thousands of alumni and students filled the stands for homecoming weekend. Northwestern came out strong and capitalized on their attacking opportunities as Penn State struggled to shut down the Northwestern offense. The Wildcats scored 2 quick touchdowns in the first quarter when Penn State kicker Sam Ficken responded with 2 field goals, making the score 14-6 by the third quarter. Throughout the game, the Nittany Lion offense was making progress but couldn't make their way into the end zone. Northwestern kept up their momentum and scored 2 more touchdowns along with a field goal, but missed both opportunities for an extra point conversion. This is what Christian Hackenberg had to say.
We're going to come together. We're a tight-knit group. We always are together. So I think just gives us something to work at and work more towards.
Penn State fell to Northwestern 29-6. Their next game is away against Michigan on October 11th. For Penn State Sports Night, I'm Tatum Coffey.
So guys, let's start it off by talking about Christian Hackenberg. He currently leads the Big Ten in passing yards with 1,477, but he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since week 2. So kind of what are your thoughts on how he's been playing and where he's going to be going the next part of the season?
Well, first off, it's a bye week, so that they need to just calm down. You saw a lot of his throws were on the ground, especially screen passes, kind of dump-off passes. They were all really low. And you can blame the offensive line. I'm sure we're going to talk about that soon. But it's really just take this week, concentrate, work with your receivers, work with Belton, because you saw they had that really tense moment where Belton was completely in the right. At one point, like the senior has to talk to the sophomore and check him, be like, listen, you need to put yourself into the game. So I don't know. I think Hackenberg really just needs to focus. He needs to make right decisions. Don't be afraid to throw it out of bounds. I think it also has to do a lot with the play calling. You need to stop supplementing the run with the screen pass. You need to aim for tight ends. He didn't hit Jesse James more than 3 times. And you see if you have a 6'7" wide receiver, tight end that runs just as fast as anyone on the field, why aren't you using him? He could be the Jimmy Graham of this offense.
I wouldn't want to put all the blame on Hackenberg, even though he has been playing as well as he should be, or as well as last year for that matter. I think it's more of a coaching standpoint because personally, I know there's a lot of controversy over Bill O'Brien, but I believe he was a better coach for Hackenberg because with James Franklin coaching him, he has a different style of play, and Hackenberg is still also only a sophomore, and he doesn't know how to do everything, and it kind of seems to be relying more on him to read everything and know how to do everything, but it's definitely a coaching thing too.
Well, Max, you were talking about kind of the offensive line. What do you think about the receivers? Because they did not look to be in position this past week. They just weren't ready. They weren't clicking. Hackenberg was not making those passes that he should be, but I kind of what Sammy said, I don't think all that blame goes on him. I think the receivers weren't getting open, and there was a lot of dropped passes that should have been completed.
It wasn't as much the receivers. I think there were 2 or 3 drop passes, 2 of which were from Geno Lewis that you rarely see him drop balls. It was literally in his hand. It's really upsetting, especially from a vet. The receiving core this year is so young, so athletic. In the next couple of years, they're going to be great. I mean, you have Godwin, you have obviously Deshaun, and they're just killing it. You have Gazeki, who's a freshman tight end, who's very athletic. You saw him; he had 1 catch. But I can't put any blame on the wide receivers here. If you're going to put any blame, I wouldn't put it on Franklin, even though I'm not a big fan of the Wildcat that he tries to run. It's stupid. He addresses it in the press conference too. He knows that people aren't a fan of it. But I put blame on the offensive line. It's actually like the island of misfit toys because you have 2 people on that line that are actually defensive players. You have to turn them into offensive players in one offseason. You lose 2 of your returning veteran offensive linemen. I think the only returning offensive lineman on that team that is in their actual position is Donovan Smith. And you can see it. I mean, Hackenberg has less than 3 seconds to throw the ball, which, yeah, you can say wide receivers are out of position, but you can't let a play develop. You can't have a hitch and go and have more than 3 seconds and expect to do anything with that. The offensive line, to me, is the complete issue. You have no holes for the running backs, which is why they're trying to supplement with the screen passes, and it just doesn't seem to work if you don't have time, or blocking for that matter.
Alluding to what you said, I feel as though they need to run the ball and take pressure off of Hackenberg because he's sitting back there and he's trying to win the game with his arm. They need to, stop the Wildcat, just line up and run the ball, get them big offensive linemen going downfield, let them hit some people, and then that take pressures off him because he feel like he has to win the game as the quarterback because he's going to share majority of the blame. It's the coaches, then it comes to the quarterback. And then when you seen with, like you said, Belton got into him, I feel like that's great. I feel like you need to be able to talk to your teammates. Maybe you went about it the wrong way, but still, you need to be able to converse with each other and fire it up. Emotions of the game is homecoming, it's packed, families in the stands. Emotions get to flowing. But I feel like Belton was right, and I feel like Hackenberg should have made some butt throws that he didn't make. And, yeah, they need to run the ball.
I completely agree. I think Belton was absolutely in the right. Hackenberg threw the ball 45 times. There were only 25 rushes, and of that, 11 were from Hackenberg just scrambling out of the pocket. So realistically, there were 14 run plays.
But that being said, Akeel Lynch has, has been a huge part of our Nittany Lion team, and he's actually leads the Lions in yards per carry per game of 7.4, which is a lot higher than both Bill Belton and Zach Winnack. So why aren't they giving him the ball?
Simple.
If he's,
It's simple. It's because he's not a senior. I think they're prioritizing his Winnack because he's that bull runner that's going to push through for that first down yard, or getting it to Belton who can make people miss. And if you watch, Akeel Lynch is like the mixture of both. He's got the speed, he's got the strength, he can run through people.
So why not give him the ball?
Because they just don't really have much faith in him. They tried to run the Wildcat with him this past game. He had one run for 2 yards. And it was really unfortunate.
So do you guys have any predictions for our upcoming game in 2 weeks?
Versus Ohio State?
No, it's Michigan,
Michigan.
coming up.
Oh,
Ohio
I'm
State's right
sorry.
after that.
Excuse me.
Michigan's away and then Ohio State home.
Michigan is struggling too, but I think Penn State could pull it out.
I absolutely think Penn State can pull it off. Michigan's struggling so bad. They just got destroyed
They did.
30-14.
Yeah.
They got shut out by Notre Dame. You have this bye week. They don't have a bye. They're actually playing Rutgers, who gave us enough trouble.
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep Michigan ruined because they don't even have a quarterback at the moment. They have a lot of coaching decisions that they have to make. I think Penn State comes out with the win.
I think they could have a chance against Ohio State just because the quarterback's not in. Who knows? I'm just trying to be positive.
See, I kind of think
I'm not sure. I mean, James Franklin he keeps saying they're going to fix it. Who knows? We'll have to watch and see if anything gets fixed. But
Definitely. Okay, well, another team that had a big game this weekend was the women's ice hockey team. It was the first game of the year for them, and they came out with a huge win, which as of last season, they didn't do so great. So kind of let's talk about that. I mean, freshman Bella Sutton scored 2 times and had an assist in that game, and we all know that there's no seniors on this team now. So kind of what do we expect from these younger girls this coming season?
Honestly, it couldn't be worse than last year.
I was about to say that,
It was
actually.
terrible. They had single-digit wins, which is nothing that you want from any sports program. They're young. They're optimistic. It's a new program still. Clearly, there's talent on this team, but you're also going against West Ontario in an exhibition game. The Big Ten is real in ice hockey, especially women's ice hockey. You have Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan's also great, so it's going to be competitive.
So before we go to break, we're going to go to Sam Del Rosso, who has more from Jeffrey Field.
The 8th-ranked Penn State women's soccer team defeated the Bucknell Bison on Tuesday night at Jeffrey Field. It was a standout night for Penn State's freshmen as they scored 5 of the team's 7 goals. The Nittany Lions started off strong with an early goal by freshman forward Mallory Weber. In the 30th minute of the first half, freshman Franny Kraus was able to dodge a defender and score her first goal of the night. With less than 2 minutes left in the first half, freshman Megan Schaefer scored her 3rd career goal, putting the Nittany Lions up by 3. 3 minutes into the second half, Weber delivered a cross-field pass, putting freshman Emily Ogle in position to head the ball in for a Nittany Lion goal. Up 4-0 in the second half, sophomore Anna Wheat's shot from the far sideline soared in to the opposite side of the net. Late in the second half, junior Mallory Peterson found the back of the net, bringing the score to 6-0. To top off Penn State's lead, Kraus scored her 2nd goal of the night and her 6th of the season. Reporting for PSNtv, I'm Samantha Del Rosso.